The jungle world of Tharix 9 was not a peaceful place. Even when the air was calm, there was always a feeling that something was watching from the dark. The trees were tall as towers, covered with glowing vines and sharp leaves. The wind carried strange voices, clicks, hums, and soft roars that never seemed to stop. For Lieutenant Marcus Hale, it was just another day of patrol duty. He was part of the human peacekeeping team on this alien world, sent to guard the borders between the humans and the Tharixi, an insect-like species who had recently stopped fighting them. The peace was new, fragile like glass that could break any moment. Marcus walked ahead of his small squad, his boots sinking into the soft green mud. His helmet scanner glowed faintly, marking heat signatures of animals and distant movement. "Stay sharp," he said through the comm. "Last week a patrol didn't come back from this area." Private Collins laughed nervously. Maybe the bugs didn't like them. Marcus didn't reply. He had seen enough battles to know peace never lasted long. The Tharixi had their own villages deep in the jungle, woven nests of silver threads and stone hanging from cliffs and trees. Humans had learned to stay away from them. But Marcus was different. He believed not all aliens were enemies. Maybe, just maybe, trust could exist here. As the patrol reached a clearing, Marcus stopped suddenly. His visor picked up movement ahead, multiple signals. "Contacts front," he whispered. The team took cover behind large roots and pointed their rifles forward. Through the thick leaves, Marcus saw them. A group of Tharixi, tall and elegant, their shells glimmering under the blue sunlight. At the front stood a large figure, her body shining gold and green, her face marked with royal lines. Viralesh, the matriarch of the nearest hive. Marcus lowered his weapon. "Hold fire. They're not hostile." He stepped out slowly, raising both hands. "Matriarch Viralesh," he said through the translator on his wrist. "We're only passing through." The alien queen tilted her head, her eyes moving like glass orbs. She spoke in a series of deep clicks and hums. The translator struggled, then spoke in a robotic voice. "Human soldier, your path crosses mine. Why do you come armed?" Marcus smiled a little. "Habit, old habit. We don't mean harm." Before she could respond, a loud explosion shook the ground. Trees burst apart and plasma fire filled the air. "Ambush!" someone shouted. Bolts of blue energy rained down from the ridge above. Unknown attackers, neither human nor Tharixi, were firing at both sides. Marcus rolled behind cover, shouting into his comm, "Take positions! Return fire!" But he noticed something horrifying. The attackers were aiming for the Tharixi children who had been playing near the queen. Small insectoid younglings scrambled in panic, their thin wings torn by the shockwaves. Marcus didn't think. He didn't plan. His body just moved. He ran out from behind the roots, sprinting across open ground under heavy fire. "Lieutenant, no!" Collins screamed behind him. Marcus ignored the voice. His eyes locked on the younglings huddled together near a burning tree. He dived forward, spreading his arms wide, covering them with his armored body. The plasma bolts hit his armor, 1, 2, 3 times, each one burning through layers of metal. Pain shot through him like knives. His visor cracked, alarms blaring in his helmet. He heard the high-pitched screams of the children beneath him, felt their small claws clutch his suit. Another shot struck his side, throwing him down. His body went numb. He could hear shouting, human, alien, everything mixing together. Through the haze, he saw the Golden Queen, Viralesh, roaring with a sound that made the air tremble. Her forearms lifted a massive weapon that glowed with white light. With one blast, she cut down the attackers on the ridge. Her warriors charged, wings slicing through the air, moving faster than human eyes could follow. The raiders fell back into the forest, their ships lifting off and vanishing into the clouds. Silence fell. Smoke rose from the burning trees. Marcus lay still, breathing shallowly. He felt warm liquid running down his side, blood dark and heavy. His vision blurred. Something large moved beside him. He looked up and saw Viralesh standing over him. Her golden face was close, her glassy eyes filled with strange light. She knelt beside him, her claws surprisingly gentle as she lifted his shoulder. "Why?" she asked through the translator, her voice trembling. "Why protect my spawn? At the cost of your own flesh?" Marcus coughed, his voice weak. "They're kids." "Doesn't matter whose." She stared at him, confused. "Not your own kind. Not your duty." He managed a faint smile. Doesn't need to be. He felt his body growing colder. His vision faded to white. The last thing he heard was the Queen's voice, soft, broken. Do not die, human. You are mine now. When Marcus opened his eyes again, everything was strange. He wasn't in the jungle anymore. The ceiling above him was made of glowing silk threads like living lights. The air was thick with a sweet, humming energy. He tried to move, but his arms wouldn't respond. A thick golden liquid covered his wounds. He realized he was lying inside some kind of healing pod, organic, pulsing like a living creature. A tall shadow moved closer. It was Vera Lesh. She watched him through the transparent wall of the pod. Her voice came through the translator softly. Human Marcus Hale, you are safe. My healers mend you. He tried to speak, but only managed to whisper. Where am I? In my nest. Deep within Therix 9, she replied. You bled for my young. You are under my protection. Marcus blinked. Protection? I need to go back to my team. Vera Lesh made a low growl, almost a warning. You will not leave. Not until you are whole. And perhaps, not even then. Her words confused him, but before he could reply, the pod released a small mist that made his mind drift away. His eyes closed again. Outside the pod, several smaller Therixy healers approached. One whispered in their native clicks, Matriarch, why do you guard the humans so closely? Vera Lesh's antennae twitched. He placed himself before fire for my bloodline. No Therixy warrior would have done such a thing. Until I understand his reason, he does not leave my sight. The healer bowed and left silently. The Queen turned back toward Marcus's resting form. For a long time, she simply watched him breathe, her claws tapping slowly against the floor. In her mind, confusion grew stronger. Her kind did not feel debt. They did not care for others outside their hive, but this human had done something impossible. He had made her feel something new. Something dangerous. Vera Lesh leaned closer to the pod. Her reflection shimmered on the glass beside his still face. Strange creature, she murmured. You gave pain for my young. Now you belong to me. Far away, the human base received no signal from Marcus's patrol. Command assumed the worst, either he was dead or captured by hostile aliens. Orders were given to prepare a search team. In the darkness of the Therixy hive, Marcus dreamed of fire and screams. He saw again the small alien children clutching him, heard their voices crying out in fear. When he awoke again, the Queen was still there, silent, unmoving, watching over him. Marcus Hale woke to silence. For a few seconds, he thought he was still dreaming. The air was warm and heavy, glowing softly like sunlight through honey. Strange, slow sounds echoed around him. Low hums, clicking vibrations, and something like a heartbeat pulsing through the walls. Then he realized the truth. He wasn't in the human base. He was inside the Therixy hive. His body felt stiff, wrapped in something smooth and sticky. When he tried to move, the walls responded. Soft strands of glowing silk peeled away from his arms, releasing him slowly. Marcus sat up with a groan. His armor was gone, replaced with a thin cloth made of alien fibers. A faint gold light came from the walls, alive and moving like veins under skin. He touched his chest. There were no wounds. The plasma burns that had once cut deep into his ribs were gone. Only smooth pink scars remained. He whispered, How long was I out? A familiar deep voice answered from the corner. 7 cycles of the upper sun. Marcus turned quickly. Vera Lesh, the Therixy matriarch, stood there. Her tall figure seemed to glow against the dim hive light. Her shell reflected shades of green and gold, her eyes calm but watchful. Marcus stared, speechless for a moment. That's a week. You've been watching me all this time? You are under my protection, she said simply. The healers demanded rest. I obeyed. He looked around. Where are they? My squad? She tilted her head. Your kind left the jungle. They sent machines to search, but they did not find you. Marcus frowned. That meant Command probably thought he was dead. They'll come back. They won't give up that easy. They will not find you here, she said. The hive protects its own. Her words made him uneasy. I'm not part of your hive. Vera Lesh stepped closer, her claws making soft clicking sounds on the floor. Her antennae twitched slightly, a gesture that reminded Marcus of curiosity. You bled for my young. You are bound to us now. Marcus exhaled slowly. Look, I didn't do that for a reward. Those kids were in danger. That's all. She stared at him for a long moment, silent. Then she said softly, "Among my kind, no one gives life for another's brood." "It is not our way," he shrugged weakly. "Guess humans are weird like that." Her eyes blinked once, slow, deliberate. "Weird," she repeated, testing the word. Then to his surprise, a faint clicking laugh came from her throat. "Perhaps," Marcus smiled a little. "Perhaps." Over the next few days, Marcus began to recover his strength. The Theraxy hive was unlike anything he had ever seen. The walls seemed alive, breathing softly. Streams of glowing water flowed through channels carved into the stone. Everywhere, Theraxy moved quietly. Workers carrying crystal eggs, guards patrolling with long spears, healers tending to glowing cocoons. They all stopped to stare at Marcus as he walked by. Their expressions were unreadable, a mix of fear and confusion. A youngling ran up to him once, one of the small ones he had saved. It chirped happily and touched his hand with tiny claws. The gesture almost made Marcus laugh, but when the others saw, they bowed their heads toward him. Whispered clicks filled the air. Viralesh explained later. "They believe you carry something sacred now. They think your courage was a gift from the great brood spirit." Marcus shook his head. "I'm just a soldier. I acted on instinct," she tilted her head. "Then instinct is a powerful thing, human Hale." One night, as he sat near a biolamp, Marcus noticed the Queen still watching him from a distance. She never left the main chamber for long. He finally asked, "Why are you keeping me here, really?" Viralesh's claws tapped against the stone. "Because I do not understand you," she said. "My kind fight to protect the hive. You fought to protect what was not yours. You gave pain without demand of return. It is impossible." Marcus leaned back, tired but calm. "It's not impossible. It's just human. Then I must learn what it means to be human." The way she said it made him pause. There was no threat in her tone and only curiosity, maybe even admiration. But then her gaze hardened slightly. "Until then, you will not leave. You are not healed. And your presence here brings unrest." "Unrest? Some of my council say I favor the enemy." "They call you danger," Marcus frowned. "I'm not your enemy. I know. But they have not seen what I saw." She turned away, her wings folding close. "They whisper that I have gone soft. That the matriarch has been touched by the human." Marcus stayed silent. He could hear the sadness in her voice. Finally, he said quietly, "You risked a lot keeping me here. You didn't have to." Viralesh looked back, her eyes glowing faintly. "You protected my young. Now I protect you. That is balance." Days later, Marcus asked permission to contact his base. He didn't want them thinking he'd been killed or captured. When he told her, Viralesh's antennae lowered, a sign of disapproval. "If they learn where you are, they will come with weapons." "They will not listen," Marcus tried to reason. "Maybe not all of them. My commander's a good man. He'll understand." But she didn't agree. "You will remain until I decide it is safe." "That is final," Marcus sighed. "You really don't let people go, do you?" Her eyes narrowed. "Not those who belong to me," he froze. "Belong to you?" "You are under my protection," she corrected, though her tone softened. "It is the same." Marcus didn't argue. He could tell there was no point. Still, the thought bothered him. He wasn't a prisoner, not really, but every exit was guarded. He was free to walk anywhere inside the hive, but never beyond it. He started spending time helping the healers and learning their language. It wasn't easy. The Theraxy tongue was full of vibrations and tones that human throats couldn't make. But with practice and the translator, he began to understand simple words. Sometimes he saw Viralesh teaching her young. They crowded around her, listening to the deep music of her voice. When Marcus appeared, the younglings always ran to him, chirping and climbing on his legs. Viralesh didn't stop them. Instead, she watched, silent, curious, and thoughtful. One evening, as the hive glowed dimly under nightlight crystals, she approached him again. "You smile at them," she said, "even when you are tired." "Why?" Marcus shrugged. "Kids deserve smiles. Makes them feel safe." "Safety is earned," she said firmly. He looked at her. "Maybe for Theraxy, but for humans sometimes. We just give it. Because someone needs it." Viralesh stared at him for a long moment, then turned away. "Strange," she murmured. "Your kind give comfort where mine would give strength. You build trust with no walls. It is dangerous." Marcus laughed quietly. "Dangerous, maybe. But it works." That night, Marcus woke to sounds of shouting, harsh clicks and metallic echoes. He grabbed a small crystal torch and rushed to the main chamber. Viralesh stood facing 3 Therixi warriors, their armor dark and spiked. They were angry. He could tell even without the translator. One of them pointed a spear toward Marcus. He is a threat. The humans will come for him. He brings war. Viralesh's wings snapped open, glowing gold. He brings peace, she said sharply. He saved our young, the warrior hissed. He should have died then. Better that than poison the hive with his presence. Before Marcus could speak, Viralesh moved faster than sight. Her claw struck the ground, cracking stone. Enough, the human stays. My word is final. The warriors bowed their heads but left with visible anger. Marcus stood quietly, feeling a mix of guilt and gratitude. You didn't have to do that for me. She looked at him, her expression unreadable. I did not do it for you. I did it for what you represent, he frowned. And what's that? Change, she said simply. Her tone softened again. Rest now, human Hale, you heal well. But the time will come when your people will come searching. When they do, this hive will not be safe, and not for you, not for me. Marcus looked at her carefully. There was something new in her voice, not just caution, but something closer to care. I don't want to bring you trouble, he said quietly. You already have, she replied, almost amused. But it may be worth it. As the lights dimmed and the hive fell silent again, Marcus lay awake, staring at the glowing ceiling. He thought about Earth, about blue skies, ocean air, and the people waiting for him. But part of him also thought about this strange place, this alien queen, and the children who laughed when he passed. For reasons he couldn't explain, the idea of leaving began to feel heavier than before. Outside his chamber, Viralesh stood quietly in the shadows, watching. Her claws were still trembling from the earlier confrontation. In her mind, she heard again the sound of plasma fire, saw the human's body covering her children. And for the first time in her long life, she felt something no Therixi had ever felt before, fear, not of death. Marcus Hale woke to soft humming vibrations filling the hive. The light glowed pale gold, spreading over every wall, every strand of the living silk that made this place feel alive. He stretched carefully. His muscles ached, but not as they had during the ambush. He could feel strength returning, and with it a faint sense of purpose. The memory of the younglings' frightened faces haunted him. They had trusted him, and somehow, that trust now felt like a responsibility. He rose from the soft bioluminescent mat where he slept and stepped into the corridor. The hive was quiet, but shadows moved. Tiny, fast-moving shapes darted along walls, pausing to glance at him with bright, curious eyes. Morning, Marcus muttered, smiling at one of the small Therixi children. Its wings fluttered in response, and it chirped softly, touching his hand with a tiny claw. He paused, realizing something. The younglings weren't afraid of him anymore. They trusted him, and that trust was building a bridge, one he could feel stretching toward Viralesh. Viralesh appeared silently at the entrance of the corridor, her towering form glowing faintly. Marcus straightened, immediately conscious of her presence. You are awake, she said. Her voice was calm, almost gentle, unlike the commanding tone she used with her warriors. Marcus nodded. I am, and I was thinking. I want to help. If your younglings are safe, maybe I can do more for them. Her antennae twitched. You wish to teach them? No, he said quickly. Not teach, guide. Help them understand the world. Help them not be afraid. Viralesh studied him for a long moment. Then slowly she inclined her head. Very well. But you remain under my observation. Marcus smiled. Of course. For the next several cycles, he spent time with the children, playing games that involved running, climbing, and small bursts of agility training. He didn't just teach them physical skills. He showed them courage, how to face fear without panicking. At first, Viralesh watched silently from a distance. Sometimes she observed in the shadows, her presence a quiet weight that Marcus felt even without looking. Over time, she began to move closer. She didn't interfere, but she didn't leave either. One evening, after the younglings had gone to sleep, Marcus sat on a raised platform, his feet dangling over the edge. Viralesh approached him, her movements deliberate. You are different from any human I have known, she said. He shrugged. I get that a lot. You are not bound by duty alone. You act on instinct and compassion. That is rare. Marcus paused. I don't know if it's rare or just human. We help each other. That's how we survive. Viralesh's glowing eyes narrowed slightly. Your kind. Survive by helping? Yes, he said. Even when it's dangerous. Even when it doesn't make sense. She tilted her head, observing him. For the first time, Marcus saw something like admiration in her gaze. But it was mixed with something else, something alien to him yet powerful. Concern, care, and maybe attachment. As Marcus spent more time among the younglings, he noticed their behavior changing. They no longer clung to their mothers or waited silently in fear when the hive rang with alarms. They followed him with confidence, chirping excitedly as he ran alongside them through corridors, over glowing bridges and through gardens filled with alien flora. One day, while they played, a loud alert echoed through the hive. Marcus froze. The alarm was sharp, warning of a potential threat from outside. Viralesh appeared instantly, standing tall and imposing at the entrance of the chamber. Her wings spread slightly, glowing gold. The younglings immediately scurried behind Marcus, seeking protection. What is it? Marcus asked quickly. Raiders, she replied. They have returned. Marcus's heart sank. He had assumed the ambush was a one-time attack, but now he realized the danger had not ended. He looked at Viralesh. Do you want me to fight with you? Yes, she said simply. Your courage strengthens those who follow you. If you stay behind, they hesitate. If you fight, they fight with more power. Marcus nodded, his mind already racing through tactics. He wasn't just a soldier now. He was a protector, not only of the younglings, but of the entire hive. The raid was sudden and chaotic. Raiders dropped from their ships, their weapons blazing. Marcus moved quickly, coordinating with the Thyryxi warriors. He directed them to defend key positions, pointing out blind spots and weak points. At one moment, a bolt of plasma surged toward one of the smallings. Marcus didn't hesitate. He threw himself over the child, taking the hit with his shoulder. Pain seared through him, but he barely noticed. The child chirped, unharmed, and scuttled behind him. Viralesh watched, her wings folding close in a rare display of agitation. She barked commands in clicks faster than any human could follow. Marcus saw the soldiers respond instantly, the hive's defenses tightening. The battle was fierce, but Marcus's presence made a difference. He fought alongside the Thyryxi, using his knowledge of human tactics to anticipate the raiders' moves. Together they pushed the attackers back. The aliens began to understand something new, that humans could be more than enemies. After the raiders fled, Marcus knelt among the debris, catching his breath. One of the younglings approached him, chirping softly. He smiled, ruffling its tiny wings. Viralesh came beside him, her eyes glowing faintly. You risked yourself for them again. Marcus shook his head. They're children. Someone had to do it. Your kind is strange, she said. We would have thought only instinct to protect our own brood. You protected what is not yours. That is remarkable. He looked at her and smiled tiredly. Maybe humans are just stubborn. We don't leave someone behind. Her antennae twitched. She said nothing more, but her eyes softened in a way Marcus didn't understand fully. After the battle, Marcus realized something important. He had not just saved the younglings. He had earned their trust, and in doing so had begun to earn Viralesh's respect. She had never allowed anyone close before. Yet here he was, standing among her brood, alive, breathing, and unafraid. For the first time, the queen did something unusual. She touched his shoulder lightly with her claw, not threatening, not guiding, just connecting. You belong to this place now, she said. Marcus froze. Belong? I don't belong anywhere but Earth. You belong to us as you protected us, she replied. Your actions have made you a part of the hive. That is how my kind measures worth, he swallowed hard. I never wanted that. I just wanted to survive, and make sure no one got hurt. Survival is not enough, she said quietly. We measure value by what one gives for others. You would have given much. That is why I will not release you. Her words hung in the air like a heavy mist. Marcus felt a strange warmth in his chest. He had never expected gratitude from an alien species, yet here it was. Not just gratitude, but trust and attachment, feelings the Thyryxi never shared with outsiders. Over the next cycle, Marcus began to notice small changes in Viralesh's behavior. She would linger near him, even when the council was present. She would watch him eat or train the younglings, Sometimes she would simply stand silently, observing his breathing, the rise and fall of his chest, the way he moved through the hive. Marcus felt it too, a connection forming, quiet but undeniable. He also understood that the bond was mutual. His heart ached slightly when he thought of the humans searching for him. But now leaving would mean abandoning these children and Vera Lesh, and after all she had done, he could not do that. By the end of the third cycle, Marcus was no longer just a visitor in the hive. He was a part of it. He walked among the Therixi like one of them, his presence no longer questioned. He could feel the eyes of the younglings following him, the warriors nodding slightly as he passed, and Vera Lesh, always near, always watching, always thinking. Marcus realized then that this was more than survival. This was trust earned, bonds formed, and a new family discovered in the unlikeliest of places. And yet he also knew the humans would not stop searching. When they arrived, they might see him as a captive, a traitor, or a threat. The bond he had built with Vera Lesh and her brood would be tested. But for now, Marcus allowed himself a rare moment of peace. He watched the younglings play, their laughter filling the glowing chambers of the hive. He looked up at Vera Lesh, her wings folding close, her eyes gentle. The glowing hive of Therix 9 seemed calm in the early cycles of the day, but Marcus Hale felt a tension in the air. The younglings were playing quietly under his watch, chirping and chasing each other through the bioluminescent tunnels. Vera Lesh moved near them, silent but vigilant, and yet there was something different today. Marcus could sense it, even before the alarm sounded. Far above the jungle canopy, human ships had arrived. Sleek, metallic, and powerful, they broke through the clouds like predators of the sky. Marcus's communicator beeped sharply, alerting him to the incoming transmissions. "Lieutenant Hale," came Commander Reeves's voice, calm but firm. "We have detected your location. Stand by. Extraction team en route." Marcus's stomach tightened. He had expected this moment eventually, but he hadn't thought it would come so soon. He looked at Vera Lesh. She stood silently, her massive golden-green shell gleaming in the hive's glow. Her antennae twitched in a pattern Marcus had come to recognize, worry mixed with calculation. "They have come for you," she said quietly. "What will you do?" I can't just leave," Marcus admitted. "Not yet. The younglings. You've trusted me. I can't abandon them. And you?" He hesitated, unsure how to continue. "You trusted me too." Her eyes softened slightly, but her wings tightened instinctively. "Then we must prepare." When the human ships descended, the Therixi hive shook with vibrations. The alien warriors gathered in formation, wings raised and spears ready. Marcus felt a weight settle over him. This was no longer just a rescue mission. It was a test of loyalty, courage, and trust. Commander Reeves led the human forces. He had known Marcus for years and trusted him, but he was unaware of what had transpired in the hive. His initial message was simple: bring Lieutenant Hale back alive. No exceptions. Marcus stepped forward from the shadows, raising his hands to show he meant no immediate hostility. "Commander Reeves," Marcus said through the comm, voice steady despite the pounding in his chest, "stand down. I'm not a prisoner. I'm with them by choice." Reeves frowned, studying the Therixi warriors surrounding him. "Marcus, you need to come with us now. You're outnumbered and outgunned." Marcus shook his head. "You don't understand. They're not enemies. You think I'm captured, but I'm protecting something here. I can't leave. Not without helping them first." Vera Lesh stepped forward, towering over the humans. The golden-green glow of her shell reflected sunlight, blinding some soldiers momentarily. Her voice carried through the translator, deep and commanding. "He is under my protection. Any human who touches him must go through me." The human soldiers tensed. Marcus could see the conflict in their eyes. They had orders. They wanted their lieutenant back. But no one had prepared them for an alien queen to make such a statement. Commander Reeves swallowed hard. "Marcus, if you're really safe, then why not come with us peacefully?" Marcus glanced at the younglings playing in the distance. Then he looked at Vera Lesh. Because leaving now would betray their trust, and her trust. "I can't do that." The humans were silent. The hive's warriors were silent. Even Vera Lesh's antennae twitched as she weighed her next move. Before anyone could speak again, a sudden explosion shook the ground outside the hive. The raiders, The same ones who had attacked weeks before had returned, this time from orbit. Panic rippled through the human soldiers and Thyryxi alike. Marcus's mind raced. The humans were prepared to fire at the hive defensively. The Thyryxi were ready to strike without hesitation. The younglings chirped and screamed, scattering into safety tunnels. Marcus acted. "All of you, stop fighting each other. The raiders are the real threat." The humans hesitated, weapons raised. Viralesh's warriors blinked rapidly, confused by the human voice giving commands. Marcus ran toward the hive's entrance, rallying the younglings and their guardians. "Follow my lead. We fight together." For a brief moment, time slowed. Humans and Thyryxi looked at each other in shock, unsure if they could trust one another. Marcus didn't wait. He grabbed a plasma rifle from a fallen human soldier and sprinted forward, firing at the incoming raiders. His actions were precise, calculated, not reckless. He moved among both human and Thyryxi, shouting directions, protecting the weak, and pushing the enemy back. Viralesh moved beside him. Her claws sliced through the raider's armor, her wings creating a shimmering shield. She had never fought alongside a human before, but here she was, moving in perfect synchrony with him. The humans began to notice. Slowly, their fire coordinated with the Thyryxi warriors. Marcus realized something remarkable. His presence alone had turned fear into cooperation. Hours passed in chaos. Plasma fire lit up the jungle as humans and Thyryxi worked side by side. Marcus risked his life multiple times to shield the younglings from stray fire. One small child was caught in the explosion of a raider's weapon. Without thinking, he leaped, catching the child in his arms and rolling to safety. Viralesh saw the action and froze momentarily, then charged forward, taking down the raider who had fired the shot. The humans and Thyryxi, fighting together, began to gain the upper hand. Raiders fell back, confused by the sudden alliance. Marcus shouted directions and coordinated attacks like a seasoned commander. Finally, the raiders retreated. Their ships lifted off the ground, disappearing into the clouds, leaving the humans and Thyryxi exhausted but alive. Marcus fell to his knees, gasping for air. A youngling ran to him, chirping and wrapping its tiny claws around his arm. Viralesh approached slowly, her wings folded. She tapped his shoulder lightly, a gesture Marcus had learned was a mark of approval. "You fight well," she said softly. "You inspire loyalty and courage in all who follow you." Marcus looked at her, chest heaving. "I didn't do it for praise. I did it because someone had to protect them." "And yet you earned respect and trust," she replied. "That is rare among humans, and all others." After the battle, Marcus stood among the Thyryxian humans, watching the injured being treated. Commander Reeves approached cautiously, scanning the scene. "Marcus," he said quietly, "I see now. You weren't captured. You weren't hiding. You were part of this." Marcus nodded. "I'm protecting them, and I think you see why." Reeves glanced at Viralesh, who gave no indication of letting Marcus go. Then he looked back at Marcus. "I won't argue with her, but understand, we need you back at base eventually. Your people are worried." "I know," Marcus replied, "but not yet. Not until they're safe." Viralesh spoke, her voice low but unwavering. "He stays with us. He is part of this hive now. He has shown what it means to protect others, not for gain, but for duty and heart. He is mine to guard." Marcus swallowed, understanding fully. The bond had grown too strong to break, not just for the younglings, but for the queen who had come to trust and care for him. The humans departed cautiously, leaving Marcus and the Thyryxi to heal and rebuild. He walked through the hive, his mind heavy but clear. He had faced a choice: obey orders, return to his people, and leave the Thyryxi vulnerable, or stay, fight, and protect a species that had become more than allies. He chose the latter. That night, as the hive glowed softly under the alien moon, Marcus watched the younglings play. Viralesh approached silently, her eyes reflecting the light of the bioluminescent walls. "You have changed them," she said, "and you have changed me." Marcus smiled, a little tired but proud. "I guess humans do that sometimes." Her wings brushed lightly against his side, a gesture he had come to recognize as trust and something more. "Tomorrow," she said softly, "we will train for what may come. The raiders will not forget. Neither will others who see your kind as a threat." Marcus nodded. "Then we prepare. Together." As he lay down later listening to the quiet hum of the hive, Marcus realized the truth. He was no longer just a human soldier. He was a bridge between worlds, a protector, and a symbol of what humanity could be. Not just strong, but brave, loyal, and capable of inspiring trust in even the most alien of hearts. The jungle of Therix 9 was calm at dawn, but the air was heavy with tension. Marcus Hale stood on a raised platform in the hive, scanning the distant treetops. He knew the raiders would return. They had been humiliated, their forces scattered, and they would not forgive the humans or him for what had happened. Viralesh hovered nearby, her wings folding close. Her eyes glimmered with both worry and something warmer. Affection, Marcus thought. She rarely let her guard down, but around him she did. "They come for blood," she said softly. "And for you," Marcus nodded. "Then we meet them, together." The younglings gathered behind the protective shields of the hive, chirping nervously. Marcus crouched down to meet them at eye level. "You're safe," he said. "Stay here. Watch and learn, but don't leave the hive." They chirped in response, their trust in him clear. Marcus smiled. "Good. Now let's prepare." Outside the hive, the raiders were assembling. Sleek black ships hovered among the clouds, their weapons glowing ominously. The leader, a tall figure clad in dark armor, observed through a crystal viewport. His voice crackled over the comm channels. "Prepare the assault. That human cannot escape. The hive will burn." Marcus and Viralesh had been ready. The Tharixi warriors lined the corridors and rooftops, their spears gleaming in the morning light. Humans who remained as support flanked the outer perimeter. Marcus's instructions were clear. Move quickly, strike together, protect the younglings at all costs. When the raiders descended, the battle erupted instantly. Plasma fire lit the sky as humans and Tharixi fought side by side. Marcus moved like a force of nature, coordinating attacks, dodging deadly blasts, and shielding both warriors and younglings alike. Viralesh fought beside him. Her claws struck with precision, her wings deflecting fire, her presence inspiring the warriors around her. Marcus noticed the way she glanced at him every few moments, ensuring he was safe. In the chaos, Marcus spotted the raiders' leader. A human-sized figure in black armor, standing at the front of the enemy forces, issuing commands. Marcus's instincts kicked in. "Viralesh," he shouted, pointing. "That's him, the one in command." "We take him down, the others will scatter." She nodded, her antennae twitching. "We move together. Do not falter." Marcus and Viralesh led a charge that cut through the raiders. Plasma bolts ricocheted off Marcus's armor, but he didn't stop. He jumped over fallen beams, threw himself in front of the younglings to shield them, and fought with relentless determination. Side by side, Marcus and Viralesh were unstoppable. Their movements were in perfect sync. Where Marcus led, she followed. Where she struck, he covered. The raiders faltered, unsure how to counter this strange, united force. The battle reached its climax when Marcus faced the raider leader directly. The figure raised a plasma blade, swinging with lethal precision. Marcus dodged, rolled, and fired. The blade clashed against his rifle stock, sparks flying. "Marcus Hale," the leader bellowed. "You cannot survive this." "I survive for them," Marcus replied, eyes fierce. "For the younglings." "For her." The raider lunged, but Marcus sidestepped, kicking the attacker into a wall. Before the raider could recover, Viralesh appeared, her claws glowing like molten metal. She struck with incredible force, sending the raider sprawling. Marcus didn't hesitate. He jumped forward and restrained the enemy, holding him until the Tharixi warriors arrived to bind him. The battle ended almost as suddenly as it began. The raiders, leaderless and demoralized, retreated into the clouds, leaving the humans and Tharixi victorious. Marcus dropped to his knees, exhausted, and breathed deeply. Around him, the younglings chirped happily, rushing to hug him. Viralesh approached, landing lightly beside him. "You have done more than survive," she said softly. "You have protected all of us. You are remarkable." Marcus looked up at her, chest heaving. "I just did what anyone would do." She tilted her head. "Not anyone. You gave your life for what was not yours. You are different." The hive celebrated quietly that night. The younglings were safe, the warriors uninjured, and the raiders defeated. Marcus walked among them, helping tend minor injuries and reassuring the children. When he returned to Viralesh's chamber, she waited. Her wings were folded and her eyes glowed faintly. "Marcus Hale," she said, her voice low and steady. "You have chosen to stay, to protect, to fight beside us. That choice changes everything." Marcus swallowed. It wasn't really a choice. I couldn't leave them. Or you. Her antennae twitched. I have watched humans for many cycles, and none have shown this loyalty, this courage. You are a bridge between our species and yours. You have taught the hive something it did not know it needed. Marcus felt a warmth he had never felt in battle or in base. The respect, the trust, and the faintest trace of affection. He realized he had come to care for this alien queen, for her brood, and for this place he now considered home. And I've learned from you, he admitted, about strength, patience, and responsibility, about caring for others when it's dangerous and inconvenient. Viralesh studied him, her glassy eyes softening. Then we are both changed. And yet you remain mine. You belong here as you have chosen. Marcus nodded slowly. I belong where I can make a difference. And right now that's here. Days passed. Marcus trained with the Therixi warriors, taught the younglings skills, and explored the hive with Viralesh close by. He felt at home in a way he never had on Earth. Occasionally, he thought of his fellow humans, of Earth, of the life he had left behind. Commander Reeves had sent messages, offering him a return to human space. Marcus never responded. He couldn't leave, not now, not when the hive needed him, and Viralesh had come to trust him completely. One evening, as the glow of the hive dimmed to a soft golden light, Viralesh came to Marcus with a solemn expression. There may come a time, she said, when humans return to seek you. They may not understand what we have built here. You must decide if you remain with us, or leave. Marcus looked into her eyes. The weight of the decision pressed on him. Leave the hive, return to his people, and abandon those who trusted him? Or stay and become something more, a human in an alien world, a protector of a species that had become his family? He breathed deeply. I've made my choice, he said. I stay, I fight with you. I protect them, and I protect you. Her antennae twitched, her wings fluttering lightly in approval. Then you are truly part of the hive, part of me, and I will never release you. Marcus chuckled softly. I wouldn't want you to. Weeks later, the raiders attempted another strike, but Marcus and Viralesh were ready. Together, they led the Therixi and remaining human defenders in perfect coordination. The raiders were overwhelmed, retreating with heavy losses. After the battle, the hive celebrated openly. The younglings chirped happily. The warriors lifted their spears in salute, and Marcus stood beside Viralesh, feeling more a part of this world than ever. She stepped close, placing a gentle claw on his shoulder. You are more than a protector. You are a symbol. Humans can inspire courage even in the strangest of hearts. Marcus smiled, feeling a deep connection he could never have imagined. Then let's keep protecting them. Together, she nodded. Together. Marcus Hale, human soldier, protector of younglings, and trusted companion of the Therixi Queen, had found a new life. A life where courage, loyalty, and humanity mattered beyond words, across species, across worlds. He had given his body once to protect others. Now he had given his heart, and it had been accepted in return. The hive of Therix 9 hummed with life, glowing softly under alien moons. And at its center, a human and a queen stood side by side, united by trust, courage, and an unbreakable bond. No force in the galaxy could sever what had been forged in fire, blood, and the quiet moments of care. Marcus smiled, feeling truly home for the first time in his life.